The Toronto Raptors are making moves. As the news has come out today, the Raptors have made multiple transactions to really fill out the back end of their roster going to close out this season. So we'll discuss that, including some major updates regarding Gradey Dick and his current injury situation, as he's had some bad luck over the last stretch of weeks with his current injury timeline. And then, frankly, a lot of fans have been saying, hey, Gradey Dick, we know we want you to get a bunch of development. We know we want you to get reps to close out this year. But of course, if you're injured, we don't want you aggravating anything that will hurt the future of your career. So we have some updates in regards to what's really going on with the injury situation to Gradey Dick, as well as an update for the Toronto Tempo. So lots of stuff to sink our teeth into in this video. But before we dive into that, folks, we have an exciting announcement as we are officially back out there on Spotify, out there on Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys get your audio, get your podcasts, listen on the go. We are there now. We've been, we used to be there. We used to be consistent, but we struggle finding the right partnership out there for these podcasts. But now we have it locked all across the network. So if you want to listen to Raptors Digest on the go, check out our Spotify, check out our Apple Music out there in the links down below. Hit the, give us a good review, get that stuff going so you can listen to the show wherever the heck you get your podcast. But let's dive into that news. Let's deliver on that show here. So first, we'll start with a little Toronto Tempo update. As if you're not familiar, the Toronto Tempo is the new WNBA team that's coming to Toronto out here in next season. So we do have a pretty interesting update out there on that front. So basically, news has come out today or yesterday that Serena Williams is going to be a new owner for the Toronto Tempo. So big news, Tempo fans. We're thrilled to announce that Serena Williams, a legendary tennis pro, has joined the team as the newest owner of the Toronto Tempo. The moment is not just about basketball. It's about showcasing the true value and potential of female athletes. I've always said that women in sports are an incredible investment opportunity. So that's coming from Serena Williams, and that's great to see because, of course, I'm rooting for this team. I haven't been that deep into the WNBA, followed all those stuff, but now that we have a team out there in Canada, there's like a team you can actually root for, follow. That's always been my thing with sports fandom. I need a team to really root for and cheer for. So once the Tempo out there, I'm excited to kind of watch this. And then having big names surrounding your organization, surrounding your team, that's something that makes things a little bit more intriguing, makes the storylines a little bit more juicy. So having Serena Williams involved with the Toronto Tempo is a very, very exciting thing. Of course, she had that relationship with Drake and stuff, so maybe there's some weird stuff going on there. She showed up at the halftime show. I mean, there's a bunch of drama you could really sink your teeth into with this, but found it pretty cool that she's going to be involved with the Toronto Tempo. And the more names that are associated with this team, the more exciting the games become. So exciting stuff there. We'll see, the Tempo can acquire Kia Nurse, bring in some hometown names for this team as, the inaugural season is coming up, not this year, but the upcoming year. So lots of fun stuff happening out there along those lines, but let's dive into the next topic discussion. The Toronto Raptors have made multiple moves, have made multiple transactions. As we know, this team has, had their share of transactions over the last little while, trying to fill out the back end of their roster, as we should, to close out this season on a year where we're trying to capture that flag, trying to develop young guys, figuring out which pieces on the back end of your bench can really have an impact and have, potential ability to be on your roster long term. It helps out with the development of your core. So Masai Ujiri's made some interesting moves, transactions out there on that front, as basically Blake Murphy has come out today saying that when Orlando Robinson gets converted to an NBA deal today, it will just be a rest of the season deal. No additional years. I'd expect Roden to get another 10-day contract or the two-way spot, as the 905 just added Lacey James back from the player pool and Colin Castleton and Kyler Kelly as centers of interest. So then after Blake Murphy ended up tweeting that out, basically news came out. The Toronto Raptors have agreed to a two-way deal with Jared Roden. Sources have told Hoops Hype. Basically, Roden recently signed a 10-day contract with the Toronto Raptors. So again, we haven't seen too much of Jared Roden actually on this team. Haven't seen him, get a ton of opportunities, get a ton of minutes out there with this group. So, but he's been an effective scorer. He's been an interesting piece. He's played for the Detroit Pistons. A guy that I think is an interesting guy to have in your two-way system. But Masai Ujiri gave him the two-way contract and then rewarded Orlando Robinson, who has been fairly solid for this team. He's getting legitimate rotation run for the Toronto Raptors to close out this year. He's a solid big man. I mean, his stats aren't overwhelming, but still 4.3 points per game, 3.3 rebounds. He's shooting the three ball, which is interesting. Not at a high volume, of course, but is shooting there. His field goal percentage should be higher for a 7-foot center, but he is providing some, rim protection around the basket. It's just showing that, hey, he can at least be out there as maybe a third string big man in the short term for the Toronto Raptors as we come into next season as, looking to compete. And if he can really show out the closeout this year, I wouldn't be surprised if Orlando Robinson, asserts himself as one of those insurance players on the Toronto Raptors long term. And then now Jarrett Roden's out there with a two-way spot. Haven't seen him play a ton out there on this Raptors group, but, we'll see if he gets some run to close out the season. Given the fact this team has been trying to take some L's in these games, we've seen the rotations that Darko Rajaković has tried to run. Teams feel a little bit too good with the rotations that he's been running, so don't be surprised to get some extra run for these guys off the bench to close out this season. So a lot of interesting stuff there, but next topic, which is probably the thing people are most intrigued by, is a massive Gradey Dick update, because he's struggled as of late. That's the reality of it. And Gradey Dick has had a phenomenal season. I've seen some people bashing on what Gradey Dick has been providing over the last little while, but basically, overall, this season's averaging 14.4 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, 1.8 assists, still only 21 years old. 3-point percentage, all that stuff could definitely be higher. The defensively, it looks a little bit of a step slow over the past, especially a couple of weeks, just from the eye test, but overall, I think the development, the leap Gradey Dick took, especially at the beginning of this year, has been understated by a lot of Toronto Raptors fans, but he has struggled as of late. And then, in the most recent game for the Toronto Raptors, had a tough go of it. So he basically halfway through, he wasn't back in the second half. He's done for the night. No injury designation yet, but we knew this. Essentially, Gradey Dick right now has a knee hyperextension, a sit bone contusion, and a split lip, but past the concussion protocol per Darko Rajaković. So he doesn't have a concussion, which was encouraging after the big hit he took against the other game against the Orlando Magic, but is a guy that was dealing with a lot of current issues on this team. And then basically, news came out today. Gradey Dick is out tonight, as well as Ochai Agbaji, Jameson Battle, Brandon Ingram, Oler Shamshay, as well as Garrett Temple remain out as well. And an ischial tuberosity contusion. A bruised sit bones is Gradey Dick's official designation. But as we saw, he is dealing with a ton of different injuries here now at this point. He's been trying to play through it. He's been trying to, get hoop and try to be out there on the court for the Toronto Raptors. It's great to see, his toughness and stuff. But we're the Toronto Raptors, haven't tried to lose games. And, I know these games are kind of crucial for development, to get reps, get opportunities for you to, figure out what things you need to work on over the summer so you can come back next season more locked in, focused, ready to go on the things that, can take your game to the next level. It does suck to see Gradey Dick out there not be able to get that extra run to close off the season, but of course, we do not want him getting any acute injuries, any injuries that will affect the future of his career in a season where wins and losses don't really matter. That development will come anyways. We saw the leap that he took over the last summer, so I'm optimistic Gradey Dick will be fine, will be all good, but do not rush him back. Darko Rajaković, Masai, Ujiri, whoever's out there making these decisions in regards to these lineups. So we do not want him to, aggravate anything, to have a serious injury or anything like that in a season where it's as messy as this one. So let me know what you guys think about all that in the comment section down below. You guys are best to make this far. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you made it this far as well. Just go out there and check out Raptors Digest on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. But folks, you guys are best to make this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.